Mhm.
Thank you for joining me today on the Hustlewing Podcast. I would love you to introduce yourself to the Hustlewing community. Tell me a bit more about yourself and the business and where you guys are in 2024.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I'm Marilyn Austin. I'm CEO and co-founder of Hempress Hygenics. We make the first hemp-based period and personal care products. So we have pads, liners, a cup, cosmetic rounds, and Q-tips, all with organic cotton and hemp. All of our products are biodegradable, organic, regenerative, toxin-free, fragrance-free, gynecologist and dermatologist approved, like all the different, health, safety, and sustainability standards you could want. And we launched in August of 2023. So we're only, a few months into the market, and we're really excited for a lot of growth into 2024. Right now, we are sold online through our website, on Amazon, and also through some select retailers here in the United States.
That's very interesting. Normally I'm speaking to tech companies, so an actual product-based business, and within your first year as well. How have you found the first couple of months starting late in 2023 into 2024 now? What does it look in terms of the business? And are you doing pure e-commerce? Are you distributed anywhere physically as well? What does that business model look like?
Yeah, so we are online through our website. We're also on on Amazon, and then a few other marketplaces like GTFO It's Vegan and things like that kind of have like-minded product offerings. And we are in brick and mortar. We have a few small like regional natural chains, and also a lot of like local independent grocers and like drugstores around the country. So that's kind of the model. And so far it's been a lot of learning. I think what I've learned is just like every practically like day, week, we're changing things up, changing the strategy, changing where we're spending money, because we had all these assumptions and we thought, okay, this is the structure we need. Here's the partners we need. This is how we'll be successful. And then, oh, that's not working. We have to change that. That's not working. We have to change that. And it's just constantly kind of being in that space. We are getting now to a point where I think we have a little bit more of like steady or consistent growth, and we're seeing a lot more like traction where we wanted it. At first, it was just kind of throwing everything out there and seeing what works. And so, yeah, it's been interesting, but a lot of learning. And I think we're finally kind of like getting it down.
I mean, you've answered the question, but if we want to hone down on the exact sort of challenges you're having right now, is it specifically based around resourcing and skills? Maybe what could be interesting is paint me a picture of what the current team looks like in terms of the business. Who's on staff?
Yeah, so that's a big issue. I'm the only full-time employee at this point. We have a lot of contractors and freelancers that we leverage, and that was part of kind of the issue I alluded to, is just finding the right partners that really understand our business and can make sure it's growing the way we want it to. So to give you like more insight there, e-com ads. We're really trying to grow our e-com business, like direct to consumer through our website. And that has been a challenge just to figure out what works best, because we have a low price point product. We need to be really specific about how we're running our ads to try to still be profitable. Obviously, that's not going to happen for a while because we're a new brand, but just keeping an eye on ad spend versus ROAS and things like that. And we're just constantly tweaking there. So the build out, like I mentioned, is really myself as the full-time person. And then we have a really amazing social media manager, but she's not full-time. She's a contractor. And then we have, a sales director who's a contractor, an ops director that's a contractor. And then we work with a Amazon agency and an e-com agency. So that's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, I would quiz you for 15 minutes on how you're enjoying the new Google updates in comparison to last year, and how the difference in analytics and tracking has sort of impacted, or what you are finding, where the traction is coming from. Is it from search? Is it from social media? I mean, you just mentioned ROAS now. So we're talking about marketers, we're talking about performance marketers. What other skill sets would be of interest? I mean, if we think of development, the actual asset itself, your owned assets. So if you've got a social media manager, what developers have you worked with, and what is the asset actually built on, out of interest?
Just to clarify, the asset in terms of like the creative that we're making, like the ads?
The website, the website itself. some people
Okay.
use Shopify and they build it out, or they have a WordPress backend, or whatever the case is. So I always like to
Exactly.
ask the technical questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is Shopify, and we did, hire a design firm or a design and website firm to like make it customized backend for us, or not backend, but customized design basically. But yeah, we're on Shopify.
Okay, and if we now look at the rest of the business, what else is? I mean, it's a very interesting product with a very. It's not a niche base, but you've got an audience. You know exactly who your target market is, right?
Exactly.
So, who else could be of assistance? So, I mean, would you be open to the community engaging with you and actually pitching you their services and so forth? Because we've got highly skilled individuals
Yeah.
that sit in finance, in legal, in biz dev, in sales, in analytics. So it's not only your product-based guys, it's the full sort of like business complement. Where
Right.
else do you see opportunities over there potentially?
Yeah. It's constantly evolving, but as I alluded to, e-com is a space that we really need additional support. And when I say e-com, I mean,
Yeah.
I honestly want a multi-channel expert. They don't need to deploy. They don't need to deploy the ads on Google and Facebook and all these different places, but I want them to be kind of the puppet master that can pull the levers and see what works and make sure all of our funnels are working together, and that everything is driving more community and more customers to our website. So that's something, just ecom in general, like an expert would be wonderful. And then sales is something that I think I would really appreciate support. I don't know how much your community is involved in the sales side of things, but
Yeah,
specifically for us, it's like retail, talking to accounts, managing shipments, making invoices, making sure that we're really developing our relationships with our different vendors. And so that's something also that is like always a need.
So almost that post-purchase customer engagement sort of element as well.
Yeah,
So
but
that,
on the
yeah.
B2B side, not as much on the e-com side, on the B2B side. And then actually one more
Okay.
place, email and SMS marketing. Currently we like do that in-house, and I practically do it half the time. And it's pretty, I think it's pretty straightforward, but I would love somebody that's like more experienced than me, more of an expert. We have all the templates. The design is like stunning, but it's like, how do we increase, our sales there? How do we increase our lists? That type of thing. So an email or SMS person would also be a wonderful inclusion.
Yeah, so almost speaking about that outbound lead generation, what those steps to nudging people across, into purchase looks like. Because I mean, there's multiple ways of doing that. If you're looking at, Google itself, building those audiences out, integrating everything else. So almost the data analysis of that as will be, obviously very interesting. Yeah. In terms of where the audiences are sitting, are you specifically focusing on the US, or are the opportunities elsewhere? I mean, what happens if you have people that want to purchase overseas in the UK or where else?
We are super open to expanding. The main issue is just the fulfillment piece. So until we find a really like solid 3PL that sits in the EU or in Australia or something, we're not really able to expand there, because just the shipping costs, it'd be just astronomical for us and the customer. So right now we're just focused on the US market, especially since we just launched, a few months ago. But in the future, we really want to expand, especially to the EU market. But we're open to getting a 3PL there first and making sure we have a really strong visibility into what's happening. Because even in the United States, we have our 3PLs and stuff still goes wrong all the time. So finding a good partner. And then on that note, another potential person would be somebody sitting in the EU to manage it, because or different time zones, different languages, things like that. I don't want any pieces to fall in the cracks there. So having somebody like close by that can kind of check on things would be like necessary.
Makes sense. Now, I think what I like to sort of unpack at this point is the type of people you like to work with. So if we talk about, culture and so forth, I mean, it's a pretty it's a pretty rhetorical question. You want to work with nice human beings that are friendly and talented and skillful. But if we talk about the culture itself, who are the kind of people that you like to engage with, and what are the prerequisites or the things you like to get from them? What is your management style potentially? What is your leadership style? How does that work with your partners and contractors and freelancers and so forth?
Yeah, I think ideally we don't always follow this rule because it's hard, but it would be great to work with users of our products, so AKA women who are menstruating, because to understand the product, to understand the market, and to, especially if you're going to be in any type of like sales or promotional role, like even with ads, to understand the product benefits fully, not just like throwing stuff out there. So preferably women who are menstruating and use our products and like align with our branding. Our branding is very kind of like mind, body, earth, spirituality, and like living holistic lifestyle. And so somebody that kind of has those same values in their products that they use. And then in terms of our kind of leadership style and how the company works, we do provide a lot of, honestly, flexibility and responsibility in the sense that I'm not going to micromanage. I put a lot of trust in people to do their job. So if they're not, I need to have like a really direct dialogue back and forth where they can be like, I'm working on this. It's not going to get done until this date. That's fine, but I just need that feedback. So I think being extremely direct and extremely realistic and, owning your own schedule, owning your own tasks, and not looking for somebody else to kind of like tell you what to do and when to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, but it's always interesting to know that because everyone's got different project management styles and so forth. I think to kind of bring it to a close, and I tend to normally start with this, but it's because we've kind of gone through the entire business now. Where did the need? When did you decide or see the opportunity, and when did you approach the market and go, I'm going to be doing this? Where did that come from? So what was the idea to launch, and when did that actually start? Yeah.
So actually in 2019, my co-founder and I were college students at the time, and hemp was legalized in December of 2018 in the United States. So 2019 was the first year it was federally legal to use hemp fiber, because that's all we use. We don't have any CBD oils, nothing like that, just the fiber. So we were incredibly passionate about sustainability, both of us. She was environmental science. I was actually econ and business, but we always kind of talked back and forth about it and basically came to the understanding of how unsustainable and unhealthy the current products on the market are. So not only are they filled with plastics, petroleum-based, substrates, they're filled with chemicals and fragrances and all these things that ultimately you're putting on like the most absorbent part of your body, whether it's your face or, your reproductive system. And so we really wanted to make a change there. And then with that inclusion of understanding hemp, because I went to a university actually that did a lot of research in hemp. So I was exposed to all of this data showing, oh my gosh, it's incredibly healthy because it's antimicrobial. It's really high performing. It absorbs more than cotton, and it is crazy, crazy sustainable. So because of all those factors, like, let's make, a period care and personal care company using hemp fiber. Let's be the first to commercialize this. And that's how it started. The process took a really long time because it's so new. There's no infrastructure for it. No manufacturer had ever really worked with hemp. So we had to be the proof of concept and do all of our own product development, which took years. And then finally we were able, over time, raising money and doing more product development. And we had full-time jobs and kind of like bootstrapped, side hustled it until this past year when we raised money and were able to launch in in August.
And what are the milestones for the rest of the year? I mean, we're in January right now, right at the end of January, beginning of 2024. So much has changed. It's a good year for ecom. It really is. So if I had the conversation with you in December, what are those boxes you would like to tick between now and then?
Really growing, just in general, a ton of growth in all of our channels. But for this conversation, like most notably ecom, Amazon. And then on the other side of things, really growing out our retail kind of footprint. And then we have a product launching probably like midway through the year. And so hoping that product launch goes really well and making sure that all the marketing and things are really promoting it. So yeah, I would say that. And then probably, growing the team a bit too. I want to make this like a well-oiled machine where it's super structured and streamlined. And so that's just a process that's continuing to evolve, but hopefully by the end of the year, we have like a really great foundation.
Something just dawned on me now. Is there any legal considerations to have based on the product and the marketplace and understanding how they would launch? I'm just kind of backtracking a little bit now, looking at the entire thing. Because it's so new and such a very unique product, is that a consideration at all?
No, it is. Yeah. So Hempress Hygenics.com and Hempress Hygenics on all platforms. It's spelled how it sounds, but sometimes that can be a challenge for people. So, yeah, basically Empress with an H in front of it.
So, onto the platform, and you're going to get loads of skillful, talented human beings that are going to be engaging with you. So look forward to that. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much.